What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Destroy coming at you with our quarterback video. Didn't do a first video look this week. Content was slow towards the end of the week last week, just because my work schedule made it really difficult. But should be a full load of videos this week, posted every day. So tune in all week to get the content. So we got two quarterbacks over 7K this week. Lamar Jackson against Buffalo and Mahomes against New England. Now, this is interesting because this is the first week where I see both of the top two expensive quarterbacks, and neither one is a interest to me at all. Lamar Jackson, by all means, is the front runner for MVP, been leading that Baltimore offense to do crazy things. And, they even did it again last week against the 49ers. The only thing here is Lamar Jackson is at 7,400, not by all means his highest price. But Buffalo has a pretty decent defense. They're a very fast defense. And they're a team that I think will honestly contain Lamar Jackson. I was wrong last week. Lamar Jackson ended up getting 16 carries, which is crazy. Crazy. Um, and, ran all over the 49ers. Very high scoring game. I thought it was going to be a little less scoring, but both offenses played really good. Both defenses played pretty good too, for the most part. But it made a very entertaining game. So it was worth a while. Patrick Mahomes, I mean, that Kansas City offense is starting to look a little better, you look at Patrick Mahomes' numbers though, they're not his numbers they were last year. That offense isn't where they were last year either. And they're going against a New England team who just had their worst defensive game last week. So I don't know. Those two just don't really, as of right now, on Tuesday, bring me that much interest. Aaron Rodgers against Washington, though, brings me a little interest. The only reason being is Washington, team that allows 22 to 13 touchdown to interception rate. It's just the game plan I see here. They're going to be at Green Bay. It's going to be a cold game. I expect Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams to do a lot this week. More than Rodgers is going to be throwing. Granted, you look at last week and Rodgers did his average, they want to get him at least a good, 28, 29 to about 35. Like, that's his range. We saw the week 4 against Philly and they had to throw the ball. They had to. But they've kept it really good of staying somewhere around there. I just can't really see Aaron Rodgers dependent on the passing game. Washington has a terrible running rush defense, or defense against the run. I'm sorry. And it just, cold games, you go running backs. That's the point I have in these big, strong running backs, is that they're going to run towards the end of the season when you're a team that plays in these cold games. So I honestly like Aaron Jones a lot more than I like Aaron Rodgers. Kirk Cousins playing Detroit. They're going to be at Minnesota. The difference is they have a stadium, unlike Green Bay, or a dome, I should say. A dome, so that doesn't affect it as much as it's going to be the Green Bay. The Detroit Lions are up there, yardage 3,517 yards given up to quarterbacks, a 25-5 touchdown interception rate, which is one of the best for opposing quarterbacks. The big division game, Minnesota needs to win this week. Ended up not clutching it up last night. Defense played pretty good. The offense did not look as good. I mean, 6,700 compared to where he was in the beginning of the season is a big price bump, but I still feel confident here of going Kirk Cousins against Detroit. Matt Ryan against Carolina brings me some question marks. Carolina's, they allow a decent amount of yards, 3,009, but their touchdown interception rate is 14 to 12, which is very scary. And that Atlanta offense Atlanta just can't win a game. They can't. and it's hard to see. Granted, they're going to be home this week, but Carolina needs to win, uh, you know, for their playoff hopes to just stay there. Atlanta just has to play just to, I don't know, for stats, I guess. So I don't like Matt Ryan in this matchup. Deshaun Watson playing Denver. Man, Deshaun Watson's been looking pretty impressive. That whole Houston offense has. And they're going against Denver's defense, who is what? Top five? Top five statistically. Now, the thing is, they allow 14-7 touchdown interception rate, but they allow a little amount of yards for that. Top five definitely in passing yards, or least amount of passing yards allowed, which is scary. Granted, Houston's going to be home, and that brings a little bit interest, but not as much as I'd like to, especially with other prices for quarterbacks, especially cheap this week. So yeah, Deshaun Watson as of right now is not an interest for me. Jameis Winston against the Colts. Colts an 18-8 touchdown interception rate. But Tampa Bay's offense is another offense that looked decent. I mean, they've gotten yardage. It's just you look at him statistically, and Jameis just has those games to where they won 28-11. He threw 260 yards, but he didn't throw a single touchdown. And that's against Jacksonville. Indianapolis has a better defense. Granted, I would like to say Jameis Winston is a huge interest for me this week just because of how explosive that offense can be, but as of right now, he's just not. Baker Mayfield against Cincinnati definitely has some interest. Cincinnati 16-5 touchdown interception rate, only allowing 3,057 yards, which is kind of crazy because their defense really isn't that good. I like Cleveland this week. If Baker Mayfield is healthy, I like him. I just don't know you have to get some type of exposure. I said it last week. It bit me in the butt. If, Sam Darnold and Le'Veon Bell would have had games that, they should have had against that Cincinnati defense, I would have, made a decent amount of money. But they didn't, which scares me. But Nick Chubb has been really consistent this year. Like I've always said, it's just seeing if I like Baker Mayfield more than some of these, cheaper quarterbacks down here, as we're going to discuss. So as of right now, he's an eh. I'd say he's an eh. He's not fully an interest, but he's not a no look. Josh Allen against Baltimore. Josh Allen, I mean, I've been a Josh Allen guy since I saw his combine and saw his arm. Got a cannon for an arm. I like the way he runs. And I just like the way he holds himself, carries himself, and carries that team. Played really good, but Baltimore's defense, I think, is just going to stop him this week. I think they're going to stop Buffalo's offense in general this week. Baltimore's another top 5 defense, and the thing that really scares me is their touchdown interception rate, which is basically 1. Every touchdown they give up, they get an interception. It's 10-10. So I can't get interest in Josh Allen. Granted, he's at a pretty good price point of 6,200, but I really don't think I can get. I have interest in him in cash. Jacoby Brissett's interesting here because Jacoby Brissett, like I've said, is just not a name that that really stands out for quarterbacks. But he's played statistically good. He's led the Colts to just some really close games, which is always nice. But we seen him get pretty average games, and then one game with when he got hurt. I don't expect that to affect him. They're playing against a terrible defense. A defense that's allowed 3,600 passing yards and a 27-9 touchdown interception rate, which is a 3. And Tampa Bay's allowed 314 completions, which is second in the league, if I'm not mistaken. Only to the Cardinals, which also interests me is you have to watch out for the Colts injuries. They had a lot of injuries and they had a lot more injuries on the game last week. So definitely just watch the injuries. If the team is healthy, it's a good game script for him. If he's got a couple injuries, they might have to rely on Marlon Mack just a little more, even though Tampa Bay has a really, really good rush defense. They might have to rely on Marlon Mack, and you never know what Jacoby Brissett is going to do with injuries. Something that's interesting, though, at the same price point is Tom Brady against Kansas City. This game should be a very decent scoring game, New England side wise. Kansas City, 18-12 touchdown interception rate. And it's Tom Brady. Like, Tom Brady. You've seen Tom Brady have multiple, low scoring games. The team wins. They're going against a Kansas City team who is terrible against the run. New England has 3 running backs that they could put in the game and easily all of them get, 50 yards, get 7 to 8 carries, receptions, all that. But at the same time, their passing defense is just as bad. New England's going to be home. New England wants to get, one of those games to where they get a bye. So, do I like New England here? Yes. Do I fully like Tom Brady here? Sure. Would I rather go Tom Brady than, Sam Darnold against Miami or Jacoby Brissett against Tampa Bay? I don't know. That's my question. I'm just going to watch for injuries. Jacoby Brissett, like I said, really catches my eye against that Tampa Bay team. But he's got injuries. Sam Darnold also pops up on the injury list. Baker Mayfield injury list. So yeah, Sam Darnold against Miami. Miami's got a 29-8 touchdown interception rate, which is a 3 also, and allowed almost 3,200 yards. Like I said, Sam Darnold and Le'Veon Bell definitely hurt me, with Sam Darnold getting his statistically worst game besides New England last week, and the team only put up 6 points, which I believe was just off field goals. They're going against Miami, which they should win. They're going to be at home. You got to watch if Sam Darnold is injured, though. If he's healthy, if he's playing, I definitely like Sam Darnold here this week at 6,000 against Miami. Ryan Fitzpatrick, Fitzmagic is back. He really is. You look at what the Miami offense has done since week 7. Just look at Fitzpatrick numbers, and they've been really, really good for a team that is so-called tanking, has lost all their running backs, has had their top receiver get hurt. Devontae Parker has stepped up a lot for Miami, and so is Fitzpatrick. And Miami, like I said, for a team that tanks or is tanking, doesn't look that bad. The Jets have a 19-7 interception rate, touchdown interception rate, and about 3,100 yards allowed. It's just Fitzmagic, I'm just going to call him that, is 6,000, which kind of doesn't draw me in as much, but you never know. Drew Brees against San Francisco, he's 5,900, and it's crazy to ever think of Drew Brees being 5,900, but San Francisco just... San Francisco really, really, really plays good against the pass. They're the only team this season to allow under 2,000 passing yards so far. They allow a 12 to 11 touchdown interception rate, which is, 1 touchdown over a 1. Granted, they're going to be at New Orleans. They're going to be home. But, man, San Francisco's pass defense, their defense in general, has just looked really, really good. Hodges against Arizona. I think Hodges was definitely a big surprise last week. The thing is that I'm concerned about is just watching the injuries again for Pittsburgh. Hodges only put up 11.6 points, only threw for 212 yards. He's playing against a defense that allows the most completions, the most yards, and the most touchdowns. With a 31-6, allowing almost 2 yards away from 3,900 passing yards. Granted, they're going to be away, which brings some question marks too. He's 5,900. And we haven't really seen him We haven't seen him. Like, I wouldn't consider last week 11 points is a good game. So that's definitely bringing some question marks there. Kyler Murray against Pittsburgh, I don't like it. Pittsburgh, I really like their defense this week. Only reason is Arizona's offensive line is really what's going to kill them. Until they improve that offensive line, Arizona's offense is not going to succeed. In a season. They just can't. Kyler Murray is a small quarterback. He needs a little bit of time in the pocket, especially if you give him 4 or 5 receivers out there. He needs a little bit of time to make some magic work. And that offensive line isn't giving him. And Pittsburgh just gets to quarterbacks. They really do. And their team in 19 touchdown, 14 interception. Just doesn't make me like Kyler Murray here. Ryan Tannehill against Oakland. Oakland is a top 10 worst defense against quarterbacks, 3,300 yards, 27 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and Tennessee's offense has looked really good. I think his price point's really good here. I like Ryan Tannehill for cash. Kyle Allen at 5,700 against Atlanta. Atlanta's defense, third worst defense in the league, 23-8 touchdown interception rate, about 3,300 yards. It's just I really don't like Kyle Allen. I just don't. For some reason, I just don't like him. So I'm just going to stay away from him again. Stafford, if he plays against Minnesota, don't like. Garoppolo against New Orleans, I don't like either. Granted, New Orleans, a 19-10 touchdown interception rate, which does scare me, especially for Jimmy Garoppolo. And also, they've allowed about 3,100 yards, which is pretty good. I just think San Francisco's going to go with the run here a lot more than they are the pass. Philip Rivers against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's defense, has just not looked that good. But neither has Philip Rivers. So staying away from that also. And then I guess the last quarterback. Last quarterback, because we're not going to talk about the whole Andy Dalton situation, especially with AJ Green coming back. I mean, that's just a big punt. Gardner Minshew against the Chargers, though, is kind of interesting. The Chargers are a average defense. Only allowed 2,500 yards, 17-9 touchdown interception rate. And Gardner Minshew, they're going to be battling quarterbacks. Whoever plays bad is probably going to get taken out. So, definitely going to have to watch there. We could talk about Drew Lock against Houston. Looked pretty good, but we've only seen one game out of him, and that was against the Chargers defense. And then Derek Carr against Tennessee, but doesn't really stand out. So that's it for quarterbacks this week, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you're interested in our NBA package, we now have a 8-1 record on the NBA season. And also, we just took down a GPP last night, the big showdown, where one of our users, if he was the sole winner, would have won $500,000, I believe it was. But there was multiple people, so he did end up cashing with $25,000, which was really, really impressive, and we're happy for him. So if you guys are interested, definitely give us a follow on Twitter. It'll take you to our Discord and show you our packages. So hope you guys enjoyed the video.